Nowadays, we got three of the best teams going to be playing ultimately against one another, including kicking things off here with CiC Esports versus Reason Gaming, and in this match, of course, followed by CiC Esports versus Bad Monkey Gaming. So a little bit of a surprise there, even kind of last minute. But hey, if you're tuning in on Monday, definitely look forward to some great HON. With that said, we got our first matchup. So once again, CiC Esports versus Reason Gaming here in a best out of three. Obviously, we remember the last time these teams played earlier on in the season. It was one of the most epic best out of three series we have had in a long time. It was just back and forth battle royale. In the end, CiC Esports, did come out on top, but it was quite the battle between these two teams. Anyways, looking forward to these teams matching up now here in this, and it is on Force of Kaldivar. Obviously, a little bit of a hiccup. Let's just say it might have been on Profits, and they didn't realize that. So we had some fun there. We were showing that. I wasn't casting it, but just to kind of explain that real quickly. Anyways, we got a real game. I'm joined by Mini Maggot as my co-caster today. Welcome, man.
Hello. I'm looking forward to this game, though. It's going to be hopefully something similar to the first match we saw these two teams play. I'm hoping for some more Vindicator plays. And,
oh, jeez.
Good.
I gotta think Vindicator is gonna make some. I mean, we see the initial bans. No, he wasn't banned initially. Pebbles, Chronos, Pharaoh, Puppet Master coming out. But yeah, no doubt Vindicator probably is gonna be a talk here, especially for Reason Gaming, of course. Imba Boy and even Exhibit when he was ringing for them, obviously playing it. So there you go. You know what? They're 0 for 2 with it against CiC Esports, but why not give it a third try, right?
Yeah, and I think it's actually not a bad pick, particularly actually against Dr. Repulse. Obviously, like if you get shot down quite easily by sort of health ladders and sheep sticks, and the Vindicator can almost do that, but obviously in global sort of sense. So I think the Vindicator is not a bad pick, particularly against Dr. Repulse. He's going to have a hard time here, Flint's Master, trying to get away, because I think he might be ganked quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I know Reason Gaming do a lot of sort of roaming and sort of ganking, and Vindicator offers that kind of potential and lockdown, even if he's halfway across the map because of that global presence on his ulti. So I think Flint's Master is going to have a lot harder time playing with that Dr. Repulsor because of the Vindicator pick.
That's very true. Definitely against that Dr. Repulsor, gonna not be able to fly around as he so likes to do. So again, it's not only did we almost expect coming into this game that we could possibly see it, but it definitely makes sense here when it's all said and done as you're getting at. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out this time around. Like I said, 0 for 2 as far as stats go, but you know, again, it's hard to sit here and say that he was at fault and he's not a good hero. Because, I mean, even I had Super KGE on it the other day. Maybe it was Diglett, but one of them, they just reiterating the point that, I think it was Super KGE actually, that just this hero to play against, even if you don't happen to pick up a win with, I mean, he's just so annoying to play against, so just keep on stressing that it even throws you off a little bit as the other team goes, as far as like gets you frustrated that it has that capability. So they need once again going here. Engineer Magnus, obviously a good duo to go with that as well. So a lot of chat going on here between these two teams. Looking forward to the matchup. But so I mean, overall though, Dr. Kraken Rhapsody. Now we're into the bands. We got Torturer, Nymphora, Electrician, Madman, and Drunken Master coming out here. A lot of suicide potential.
Yeah, and I mentioned it actually the last series was Drunken Master going through these to the second banning phase. Actually, I'm kind of surprised. I still think that hero is really strong, but I guess hero is just maybe coming somewhat out of the meta, and other heroes are sort of taking its place, particularly like say Vindicator or Doctor Repulse as we see in this game. But I still think the hero is really strong, and I don't know why they're not really picking it up. Maybe they're just not comfortable, or they feel that they've got counters to it, so they just don't want to play it. But obviously we see the Madman ban as well as the Electrician. That's more of just a targeted ban, particularly against Zane. Obviously we've seen that hero or that player play Electrician like almost perfectly, and it's really strong kind of signature hero that Zane particularly likes to play, and Reason do well with it because of the early roaming and ganking strategy that the hero provides.
Yeah. We'll see how they perform with it here today, as they're thinking a lot about this last ban. I mean, we're already down to 30 seconds of extra time. It's upwards of 60 seconds when they first started it, so definitely putting some good thought is Imba Boy here of Reason Gaming. Looking, and by the way, another thing to note too: these two teams, obviously, they are actually the 1 and 2 teams right now in the Crunch God of our Pro League. CiC sitting on top with 4 matches in at 10 points, and then Reason Gaming at 4 matches with 9 points. But again, it's kind of reaching a halfway point. BMG's right behind them. They've only played 3 matches though, so it's really, again, it's kind of hard to justify, if a team's in first or second or whatnot when they have individual different matches played throughout. But the ultimate point being, they're both in pretty good spots here, and obviously these matchups are really the big ones because you got these top teams going at it and can determine and sway a lot. So the final ban is Ophelia, actually, and then a snap pick Warbeast. I mean, that was coming right away.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that pickup though, because obviously we haven't really seen Warbeast quite a lot so far in this in this tournament particularly. It's kind of sort of faded off in this sort of meta because of the early roaming and the early sort of team fight that these teams are going at, and Warbeast doesn't really offer that much. We saw actually The Last of Us pick up Warbeast, and I know what you got likes to play it in the jungle, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a suicide Warbeast. I can't be 100% sure, but we might see it. And I don't know, just with this Legion lineup though, it's kind of susceptible to a lot of early roaming and ganks. Like Doctor can't really help out until level 6. Kraken he can help out, but even then it's just kind of awkward. Like we saw actually the same with The Last of Us. When I talked about when they were getting ganked by BMG, they would rotate in, but they couldn't really help or set anything up because of the heroes don't really offer that set stun potential. And we might see it here. And actually Solstice pick up actually. I haven't seen that hero in a while as well.
Well, there's 2 things with that. One, he's not usually your go-to jungler, but 2 is also it's by Reason Gaming. They're not usually a jungling team. Now, I will say yesterday I jumped into their Game 3 against The Last of Us, and they actually were running Solstice at that point. St. Rocks was playing it, and he was getting some very good farm. He actually did an interesting thing where he built a Whispering Helm, but then he broke that up into an Insanitarius and a Abyssal Skull. It's actually kind of a cool tactic there. But to say the least, his team overall was doing very good. But yeah, so he's clearly comfortable with this hero.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool mechanic, actually. I'd like to see him if he does it this time. I think they've just picked up the Solstice. I'm assuming they think the Warbeast is going to be jungle, and they're not maybe comfortable in running two dual lanes, and instead they said Keeper pick up here, actually. So it might be either it's going to be a Warbeast or Keeper Suicide. Probably Warbeast Suicide, yeah, because he's got the hero. And I think that might somewhat have swayed Reason's gaming thought, because I think they might have thought the Warbeast was going to be jungle. And they don't have that much counter push, actually. They've got quite a strong pushing lineup here in the Legion side. And the only real counter push is going to be maybe Solstice with his W and Engineer with his W as well. Other than that, their counter push is kind of weak. So they do pick up Tundra. They needed some kind of counter push, otherwise they would have been very susceptible to this early team sort of pushing lineup coming up here from CiC. So.
I mean, let the scouting with Wolf jokes begin, as Keizu is going to be going on the Warbeast once again. Yeah, this has been a while, man. I mean, this does feel old school, definitely, in the sense that like a Stay Green, older Stay Green kind of lineup. The Keeper Warbeast, a lot of push coming out of those heroes alone. Rhapsody, throw her in there. Yeah, they got a lot of presence there. It's been a long time since we've seen this combo. I mean, but there's a reason why this combo dropped off, right? I mean, both Warbeast definitely got nerfed as far as his landing potential. Keeper the Forest definitely, especially to 2. I mean, do you think that this still is a very, very viable combination of heroes?
I mean, they did get the nerfs, but it wasn't so much that the nerfs was the reason we stopped seeing these heroes. It's because of the meta change, honestly. There was a lot more roaming and sort of early ganking potential that was coming out that we saw from teams like BMG as well as Reason Gaming. And like Keeper the Forest and Warbeast don't offer anything, and even when they turn level 6, they offer very minimal compared to like a second support. Although Reason do have a jungler of themselves, but even the jungler is going to be very active because Solstice is a strong active jungler. And I think if CiC do get ganked quite early, they're going to have a strong and a hard time to get back into this game, because there's no way they can really play from behind. But this sort of lineup, you have to stay ahead, because there's not a way you can really gank. I mean, they do have the Doctor Repulsor, but there's no way they can really get back into the game if they're behind, if that makes any sense, because they don't really have any ganking potential. Other than Doctor Repulsor. So it's gonna really be dependent on the first sort of 10 minutes where this tempo of the game leads. Honestly, if Reason can get enough early kills, then it's going to look really, really bad for CiC Gaming, because there's just no way they can really rotate and sort of play from behind.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. So yeah, basically, it's not that the game's going to be over at 10 minutes by any means, but we're really going to get a good idea of which team has is in the better spot. progressing on in the game, definitely. So they do send the Warby. So why Warby Suicide over Keeper, though, compared to vice versa jungle for the two heroes? Do you think is there a clear benefit?
Because, I mean, although this is the one factor that with the patch notes that why we did see Keeper, and Keeper's laning phase is so much worse than Warbeast's potential, and I think Keeper jungle is a tiny bit faster than Warbeast as well, I think it's mainly just to do with the laning situation. If Keeper goes up here against any laner, he's going to get completely destroyed, whereas Warbeast will have a bit of a stronger time. So yeah, it's just better in laning phase, really. Yeah. The Warbeast is in terms of Keeper.
All right. Oh, you do see Tundra. He's going to take some pressure right here. Probably going to be fine in the end, but Zane having to skirt on out of there with the running. As Rhapsody just going to pound on those auto attacks in the meantime. So you do see actually Magmus doing the pull of the creep wave right here, and Warbeast pounding in a lot of auto attacks in the process. Going to make him pay somewhat, but Probusk actually on the Magmus up here at the top lane. Not often you see him at the top side, but in this matchup, with what the lanes are, that's obviously where he ends up, as they have Imba Boy playing the Vindicator, partnered with Engineer in the middle lane instead. So, yeah, I mean, overall, you like that decision rather than the short lane Vindicator?
Yeah, if Magmus is mid, like I think Reason have realised that they're going to face a solo. If Magmus is mid, he can't really offer a lot of harassment other than his stun, whereas Vindicator obviously is being a ranged hero, he can offer that harass, but also his brain drain is quite strong in terms of sort of laning phase. We do see Engineer rotating top though. He might try and set up a gank up here on the Warbeast actually.
Yeah. He needs to be careful. He's going to start falling back. I mean, this is probably MIA call, if anything. There is no vision, but yeah, simply just good teamwork right there, I'm sure. And if we were in their Skype call, I guarantee there's some information being passed along that, yeah, probably want to play a little bit safer here because Engineer's missing mid especially. So, good play on his part. As you mentioned, though, Solstice is that active kind of jungler. At least he has the potential to be, especially with that blinding rush of his earlier on. That on top of his passive early allows him to put out some decent damage and look to get those kills. So, Warbeast obviously is going to have to be very careful about that. With that said, are you almost a little surprised that the Legion team doesn't really have any vision here in the Hellborn jungle whatsoever?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were more just trying to save the counter wards if they block Solstice's jungle, but at the same time they have they did. I think they put one in the middle lane, didn't they, or middle camp, but that was countered. Or do you mean in the middle lane, or sorry? Would you like in the jungle?
So like in the Hellborn jungle, because Solstice right now, none of his camps are blocked. They can't see him whatsoever.
Yeah, it was just to sort of save the counter wards for their own jungle, pretty much. Because you do that sometimes. Like, you go into the enemy jungle and you block all the enemy camps and waste all the rev wards, and then they end up blocking your camps, and then you're like, oh crap, I don't have any rev wards to counter my own jungle. So, I think they're both just happy just to try and farm their own, if that makes sense.
For sure. And that's exactly what's going on right here. I mean, actually, the double Wild Hunter being pulled right there, and now you got a Wolf Commander spawn on top of that. So triple stack of the pole camp right there for the Legion team. So that's going to get back that lane positioning if it happens to get out of hand. I mean, right now, not too shabby. Dr. Pulsar, I'm sure, is having a great time. Yeah, 20-9. You do see who's down there. Tundra, 0-0 to be exact. So
yeah, he can't do absolutely anything in this lane. Like, well played coming out from Flensmeister. Like, if Flensmeister loses the lane control here, Tundra gets 3 levels and 3 last hits. But as long as he keeps the lane control here, Rhapsody can out harass Tundra and just box him out completely. And that's why Zane's just going around doing absolutely nothing. And that's arguably to perhaps a weak laning phase coming out from Hellborn. But there's not really any other way they can really lane it because they've picked up the Solstice. Like, you can't really see Solstice going aggressive. So
yeah.
It happens to be like this, really. Zane just got to try and not feed and maybe even go into the yellow camp, because he's not going to get anything down bottom unless they start losing lane control.
So Kraken here in the middle lane, he's taking some good pressure right here from Vindicator. Again, not a big shocker. He's 15-2, but Vindicator 25-5. So no doubt Vindicator having the better time. Again, it was kind of that 2v1 lane as well. So by all means, understandable that Mickey not having the best of times. Invis Tundra is nearby. He's only level 2, so not a huge threat, but he has a little bit of burst potential. And if Kraken goes back in, I mean, Kraken's already nearly half life. Yeah, here we go. In comes a brain drain. There's the opening with the pierce charge. He gets charged with him, and that actually ends up backfiring on a Kraken. I just simply think he didn't even realize Tundra was there initially, and, well, took him with him. And as a result, bloodless kill, obviously, for Zane coming. And that's big, mainly because we're just talking about how Tundra, 0 creep kills, 0 denies at the bottom lane, getting really nothing done. Well, at least he gets a bloodlust kill. And that's
yeah. And that was something really that needed to happen, because Keeper was farming a lot faster than Solstice in the jungle, and Warbeast was, like we said, was doing a lot better than Tundra, just because obviously he's in a 1v1 matchup, and getting the kill off the Kraken as well. Like, if Kraken doesn't die there, then he can have a lot more lane presence in terms of the middle lane, or top lane actually.
Yeah, Warbeast being dove on big time. Solstice from the flank, blinding rush stun coming in, and down goes Warbeast. So obviously great coordination on their part. Solstice was setting up that flank gank that whole time. And again, communication on point right there to eventually get the kill. So good movement here coming out from Reason Gaming, and thus the 2-0 advantage. I mean, Tundra from the Suicide bottom lane, and then again Solstice, more that active jungler once again coming into play. Now this is where Keeper of the Forest, I mean, he's level 6 now. So this is where you maybe expect him to be a little more active.
They're coming mid. They're going to try something up on the Vindicator, but I think he's not stupid. You see this, like, I mean, the keeper is invis, but there's a tree just running out there. And it's pretty obvious. But no, this is what I was going back to. You know, the lineup coming up from CiC. They can't really help any lanes that are getting dove until like a lot later on, because just they don't have the hero makeup. We saw like, you know, Kraken getting dived as well as Warbeast, and they can't really TP in just because of the heroes they've got. They don't have the potential to. Old Engineer might be in trouble. No, he should be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be good there. Just checking out the top room, which happened to be regen, by the way, which Kraken, again, is able to bottle up. So, obviously, on top of his death right there, again, Mickey not having the best of starts. But he's going to keep grinding away in the middle lane. A little bit of a mix-up here. Well, mainly it looks like more so Tundra just leeching some experience in the meantime, while Vindicator's actually coming back to the middle lane, because he was getting some regen there in the meantime. So Vindicator has that bottle on top of Steam Boots. Obviously, he'll start very good, 331 gold per minute. But look at Flensmeister, 390 GPM. Again, this is a hero that sure he needs a little bit of time to get that far, but once he starts to get it, we all know what can happen as far as his gank potential, especially with that Icon of the Goddess build earlier on in the game. So, and he is well on his way, to say the least, to get in that here. 2,200 gold. Okay, finishes the full Steam Boots, but still has another nearly 1,300 gold left over. On top of that in the meantime. So, going to have both the pause coming out here from the Hellborn side. But Tundra's going to be able to get a little bit of experience here in the time being. What's that? Okay. Okay. Apparently a little bit of a lag spike there. Both sides kind of feeling it. So, another thing to note, though, Warbeast, again, especially since he's in that suicide role once again, we are going to see that battle cry being a big factor here in the laning phase. That's something you can't forget, with that W being level 3 right now. And thus 33 bonus damage coming out. So again, you got Keeper of the Forest level 6. Is this a mark here for CiC Esports that they should be looking to use this route ASAP? I mean, they kind of tried in the middle lane, but yeah, that was really a failed gank.
Yeah, it's just also hard. Like, I mean, it takes sort of two ways how to set up a gank. Like, obviously you got to have another person coming, but it's who you're ganking with, and Kraken's just kind of hard to gank with, really. Like, he doesn't have a set stun. The only way you can really initiate is if he gets behind him, and obviously Vindicator's not going to let him get behind him, and as he doesn't have a portal key, it's hard to really set something up, unless maybe Keeper comes right from behind the tier 1 tower and running into the river. But then again, like, you've got the Shiver Bird, and that's most likely going to be spotted. So, like, for CiC, it's really hard for them to get anything done unless they're grouped up as 5 and pushing a tower. And this just goes back to the hero makeup, really. All the plays and all the sort of you know, ganks have been coming out from Reason, really, just because they have a better hero makeup. But at the same time, CiC doesn't really need to go ASAP, really. Oh, they're going in top lane on Warbeast.
Are they? Yeah, they're diving again. Magnus in the flank right here. He has a Lava Surge again in 6 more seconds. Ulti form going to be coming out from Keizu, and thus he's going to be fine. Yeah, he saw Solstice just about there. Now, it was his Knight form as well, so...
Yeah. Oh, Warbeast was so lucky that he was level 5 when Magnus went in, but one creep died from the tower and he turned level 6. That is really, well, unlucky or good timing, either one. But no, yeah, this is what I was saying, like, all of the ganks are mostly going to come out from Reason, but at the same time, it's not the biggest of deals, though, because CiC are just going to out-farm them. They have, like, almost 2 jungling heroes. We used to see this sort of strategy coming out from Stay Green, and it was just making sure Stay Green didn't get picked off too much and wait till the mid-game until the team fight and the pushing sort of potential was there. Because obviously Keeper's going to be out farming the Solstice in the jungle, and Warbeast can do a lot better in the long lane compared to Tundra because he can pull. So they're going top lane again, though.
Again, yeah. I mean, they just keep going for it. W's put out right there. Warbeast, the Eruption's going to be going off. He doesn't have ulti form this time, and he could just simply not get away. I mean, obviously, that was free reign for Magnus right there. Now, Dr. Pulsar ports in. He's got basically full mana right here, but I don't think he feels comfortable committing to a kill by any means either. I mean, he might find Solstice over here. Solstice still has a good amount of life, though. We'll see what he's able to make do. There's the pull-in right there. The electric turret going to be laid down. Solstice dropping below half-life. Magnus is kind of nearby. Yeah, it's just too much of a risk for him to commit to a chase right there. So a little bit of a distraction, I guess. But at the same time, I mean, this is a Dr. Pulsar. You look at the bottom lane. I mean, the lane's kind of pushed up now. He could have had free farm down there, continuing to do so at least. And that's kind of going to waste to an extent. So that TP most certainly kind of backfiring right there for Flensmeister. You can safely say. Speaking of that, though, again, he's the one that has a solid start here. Now, again, Doctor is kind of a funky hero in this lineup overall. I mean, you go back to this is more of a team fight push kind of lineup where Doctor's more of a I want to roam around, gank, get kills. I was going to say maybe what does that change your idea of an item build? He actually buys an Arcana here.
Yeah, and I think that's the right item to go, really, because if he picks up the Icon of Goddess, he needs a lot of kills and a lot of charges for that item to be even worthwhile. And as we say before, this is more like a team fight sort of team and push, and you're not going to be getting a lot of kills with that kind of lineup. And so I think he needs that. I think he's going to go Hellflower most likely, and as a result, be a little bit more useful than just the straight Icon, because an Icon without charges is honestly just completely useless. So I think it's the right item build to go.
So we just passed that 10-minute mark. It's kind of getting at earlier that we can maybe start to get an idea of which team's looking good. I mean, right now it's still pretty even, but does that kind of sway either way for you at this point, or is it still kind of just up in the air, really?
I think it might be slightly in favour of CiC, because I think Reason maybe needed 1 or 2 more kills to make it a bit more even, because look, now CiC have got the items, they've got the core items now, they're starting to push, they're pushing mid and pushing bottom. And as you can see, the golden XP is still in CiC's favour, and I think, although they do have a Magma's portal gauge, this could be the difference actually. Now, I don't think Reason or CiC even know.
Is he going to be porting in mid? Is that him? Yeah. Oh, no, Solstice actually right there. Porting in the mid lane. Magnus is from the top.
Oh, he showed it. He showed it already.
Did he? Okay.
That's a shame.
Pro Busk has a tendency to do that.
Yeah, I think he could have set up mid, actually. They could have easily defended this, though. Or Solstice charging out there.
There we go. Kamehameha. All right, here. Kraken's going to get the 1.5-second fear, but he is going to charge away right into a Vindicator, though. In comes a final chapter. The Lava Surge trying to miss Kraken, though. It did hit Dr. Repulsor. They still get the kill on a Kraken. Dr. Repulsor, though, he's a little too quick, and the tower falls in favor of the Legion. So, I mean, sure, the hero kill happened, but I think, and at the bottom, I think that's a win for CiC right there.
Definitely. And I think just Pro Boss was a little bit too late to TP. Like, Solstice was charging his ulti, it went up, and then Magnus TP'd, and by that time, they were already kind of out of range. He did, get in range for a stun, but by that time, they all were sort of spread apart in the river, and all the while, you had Keeper and Warblers pushing bottom. And it's like, it's a really annoying strategy that CiC are sort of doing, because they're sort of just split pushing it as much as possible. And Reason can only really take one fight at a time, and so if they take a fight mid, then they're going to lose another tower. And so they really need to get a lot more kills if these trades are going to be worthwhile. Getting only 1 kill onto Kraken and losing 2 towers is just not the trades that they're looking for. Yeah.
So, I mean, the GPM chart definitely evening out. And again, Dr. Pulsar back on top right there, 355 gold per minute. You mentioned the Arcana very possibly going to be the Hellflower, so well on his way to his second one. And then, of course, needs the third to finish that off. And, they're doing these pushes here. They don't even have the Astrolabe yet. I'm sure we're going to see that on Keep the Forest. Middle lane, Kraken. Yeah, he's going to be fine. He's got the Steam Boots and a Mystic Vestments as well, so he's already tanked up quite a bit earlier in the early game stage, at least. And that definitely come into play right there. So, and then on top of that, you got a Rhapsody level 6. And obviously that's a pretty big deal too, as far as grouping up and being that team potential. Warbeast, I will say, kind of seems like his items. Okay, he's got Steam Boots. He's going to be finishing an Abyssal Skull here shortly. I kind of forgot almost that he was actually a laning Warbeast at the same time. So, but yeah, we'll most likely see that Abyssal Skull still, as obviously it's very, very effective for the team push, especially. But you could tell Reason Gaming, though, they want to try to get those kills. Magma's trying to be sneaky here at the top lane. I don't know. I think, does that actually see him? I don't think it does. I think Warbeast is trying to spot him.
Yeah, I think he does see him.
There you go. He definitely does. So, no gank to be had. I mean, he's trying, but obviously not effective right there. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it does seem like at Reason Gaming, they're starting to get to that really struggling spot. And now we can kind of get that feeling that CiC's in a pretty decent spot here.
Yeah, it's like, I think Reason needs to be maybe a little bit more effective and successful with these ganks. Like, we only see like 1 or 2 kills really when they should be getting more. Because at the moment, like, CiC could just really be more efficient in terms of farming and sort of tower pushing. And Reason really needs to get a lot more kills if they are going to sort of stay in this game, because when it gets into sort of 20-25 minutes, they're going in for this Warbeast though.
They're going to dive again, but KZ's just too quick. I mean, that was framed, and he knew it.
Yeah, and this is just good discipline really coming out from CiC. They're not overextending too much. They realise that the only way they can really lose is if they get picked off too much coming out from this ganking potential team from Reason Gaming. As long as they just stay passive and defensive, just try and get as much farm as possible without dying, then I think when it gets to sort of 20-25 minutes, then they can sort of take a team fight and successful win it. Because at the moment, the team fight is definitely in favour of Hellborn, and that's why we don't see CiC grouping up as 5. When we did see them start pushing, they were pushing one mid, one bottom to sort of split up the team fight from Reason Gaming. But when it gets 20-25 minutes and we see maybe we see Asher Lib on the keeper already, but Portal Key on Kraken and maybe like another item on War Beast or Doctor Repulsor, and that's when they can go group up as 5 because they'll be a lot better in terms of team fighting than Reason Gaming.
Oh, yeah, and again, that Hellfire, I'm pretty sure he has the second Arcane Essay, just the third one needed, and he's going to have that to go. They're stealing triple stack Ancients in the meantime on the Hellborn side. It's both slapped in, Flensmeister taking care of that, and they're going to do it without any harassment whatsoever. So just another minus there, definitely coming out for Reason Gaming. I mean, Abyssal Skull is the item of choice here for Solstice, like I mentioned earlier. It's actually bottom lane. Yeah, they're going to go for a gank on the turret now. He has a haste room bottled up, and ports are coming in. He's not going to use it, though. Do they have any kind of dust here? They do not, it looks like. So, I mean, I thought it might have popped the history and gone for a turn kill, but yeah, with the Invis Keeper and no dust. Okay, they finally get it, but yeah, a little bit too late by the time he does. That's unfortunate right there.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to point out though, as like Reason Gaming haven't got any towers, and the team fight is kind of really minimal. Like Adro has no farm at all. He doesn't even have boots, and being a support player myself, I know the struggle of like that, and it's really, really hard to really be effective because obviously you want to be with your team when or if they team fight, but at the same time, the longer you stay around with them, then the less farm you can really get, and the further away you're going to be from your boots. But at the same time, if you try and start farming as engineer, then you might end up not being with your team, and that can cause you the team fight right there, and it's just really hard for Adro not having boots compared to like Repsy. She's got ward money as well as boots, and she's picking up farm because of the tier 1 mid and the tier 1 bottom is just taken by CiC Gaming. We support here from Kraken, and this might be the time where CiC might feel comfortable to group up as 5. They might maybe wait, perhaps Shrunken on War Beast if they want to take it that much. Oh, they're going top lane.
Magnus wants to come into a kill once again, but again, Keizu has his ulti for him. He's not even going to use it. I mean, that's how comfortable he was right there, and knowing that he was just fine. So yeah, that portal key jump right there kind of failing in a sense, but they are going to keep this push going at least. You do see Warbeast, though. Those are invisible Hellhounds. Oh, not anymore. Yeah, those on an auto attack. And he's going to pull the creep wave back. So Keizu just being the annoying Warbeast that we all know and come to love.
And yeah, but I mean, also we see like Reason Gaming obviously don't have any really push potential at all, other than the Kuro coming up from Tundra, and Keizu being really annoying, slowing down the push actually and holding the creep wave. It just only reduces Reason Gaming's pushing power even more. And in the meantime, we've got CiC pushing mid and bottom. CiC are playing absolutely fantastic with their map moves right now. Actually, I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, they most certainly play on the bottom. And I really look at this Vindicator, go back and look at this Vindicator pickup, especially in the sense, it was great for the Doctor Repulsor aspect, but overall, I mean, again, when you're dealing with a lot of team fight and just push coming at you, again, he's not bringing a whole lot to the table, despite his farm being okay. I mean, it's not even that great, frankly. Only 312 gold per minute for what's supposed to be your go-to carry in this case. So, yeah, I mean, not to put obviously the fault on him, but I do think this draft, I mean, CiC definitely did a great draft in the end.
Yeah,
that's clearly coming to the picture here.
And like, I mean, yeah, his farm is low, but that's only because of CiC. They're pushing towers and putting pressure on Reason, so they can't just keep AFK farming. I mean, they'll have to TP back and defend towers, but at the same time, when they TP back, they're losing farm time, and that's why we see that the farm is actually really low in comparison to CiC's, whereas they've been the ones pushing the towers, and so they can farm and as well as pick up the tower gold as well when they take a few towers here and there.
Yeah. You see Magnus going to pick up just a refreshment room here in the meantime. The top rune looks like it was already taken. Not sure by who. Kraken. Double damage rune on him that he has to work with. And yeah, the other thing too, CiC's pretty patient right here. They by no means, I don't think they feel like they're rushed either, even though they have potential to group up and team push. They got a War Beast that's going to continue to farm now. Middle lane, Kraken is going to be dove on right here. Double stun coming out, but he's going to be able to choose charge. He takes Solstice with him. Release the Kraken coming out. Going to go for the turn. Solstice ulted right there. Trying to commit to the kill fully, but Solstice is now going to fall. So Root comes out. Magnus is trying to run away. The charge misses, actually. And that does buy enough time for a Probus to get away. Look at Dr. Repulsor, though, flying in from the left side. And Engineer with only a ward of sight in his inventory drops pretty easily, as you would expect. So, guess what? Those are the first 2 kills of the game for CiC Esports. That just really put them even a lot further ahead.
And they're, I mean, Reason are looking in such a bad spot right now. Like, after those 2 kills as well, they're like down 6,000 gold and 6,000 experience, and now they're going to lose even more because this tower is going to drop. And I mean, Reason just don't really have the potential to really take and or fight against this heavy push and heavy sort of team fight scene coming up from CiC Gaming, because they don't really have the greatest ganking potential. Yeah, they've got Magnus as well as Solstice, but you saw, Kraken being so tanky, they couldn't drop him, and good rotation coming out from Dr. Repulsor and Rhapsody to secure the kills on Solstice. And like, Solstice is one of those gankers that like he can gank quite effectively, but once he's in, like he stuns in, and like he doesn't really have any escape makers after that. And as a result, the counter gank coming out from CiC just secures the kill, and now they're so far ahead that it's looking very, very bad for Reason Gaming unless a team fight goes their way.
Yeah, and they're going to need everything to go their way for sure. I mean, again, their team fight presence is solid. They got a level 11 Magnus now. Of course, they got Vindicator and his level 2 Final Chapter. They got level 2 Kamehameha, as I call it, aka Breath of Soul in this case, for Solstice. So they most certainly have abilities that could come together and put out some good damage here against the Legion team. But it would require a lot of things to kind of line up, and definitely some mispositioning and misplay from CiC Esports. Not unheard of, but they are playing on the ball today, as you were going at right there just a couple seconds ago. So they do push the middle tower in, does Reason Gaming, so a little bit of a positive there once again. But top, and look at that, just surrounded, all the glowing red hands coming out as well. Again, because of Warbeast W right there with the battle cry. Bottom tower is pushing in the meantime. I mean, you just can't stop this. There's nothing that they can do to efficiently stop these pushes that are happening. And Vindicator's actually in trouble right here. Oh, he tapped it at the last second. He still is rooted, though. He tapped it just before he puts down the totem, or the glyph even. It doesn't matter, though. It's too late, and down goes the tower as well.
Yeah, and Solstice and Engineer try and take out Insanely on the Rhapsody, and if you can't even gank a Rhapsody, you know you're not even in the strongest of positions in this game, really. They failed to gank a Rhapsody, and it's just looking very, very bad for Reason Gaming, as well as their main farmer getting picked off by the Warbeast and Keeper. But I mean, this all got like, the reason why CiC are so far ahead in terms of golden XP, honestly, is this Warbeast compared to Tundra. They're both in the suicide lane, and Warbeast is around like 400 GPM, and compared to Tundra, only 180. Actually, Ancient's bottom lane.
What is that? Solstice actually gets charged immediately by Kraken right there, and then eventually Kraken just tries to run away. Dr. Pulsar finishes off the Ancients, and Kraken makes the escape as well. So again, they're really moving here. Reason Gaming is trying to get kills left and right, but the escape is too strong from CiC Esports, and again, you still have this Keeper of the Force at the top lane, another 1,200 gold saved up. He's being delivered something. Okay, an Arcana actually, so hell, he's good amount on his way too. Of course, that Restoration Stone here, and having that double ulti impact spot, especially when he gets that, it's just, you might as well GG with the way things are going here. But again, you still got a case of Reason Gaming. They're still hanging in there. They haven't had that wombo combo themselves be able to come together yet, but I almost wonder if that's even going to have potential, because CiC's not even really teaming up and group pushing. I mean, they're doing a lot of split pushes here.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait on Shrunken and Warbeast just to be safe before they take a team fight. Or middle lane. Kraken.
Solstice, he's going to charge in. Yeah, I can't do that far, though. Good job by Kraken right there, getting away, and obviously Rhapsody being nearby.
Bottom lane.
For the team support. Bottom lane, they're collapsing. Tundra's going to end up falling. He was in Avalanche cast animation, I believe. Oh, that is unfortunate, because if he got that off, that definitely wasn't killing Dr. Pulsar. Now, you could sit here and argue Imba Boy has his ultimate up. He could have used that, too, to go for the kill, but now he's in trouble once again. Root comes out, pushing the bottom lane by himself. Usually not a good thing, and he will end up falling. It does going to seem like Reason Gaming just not on the same page right here.
Yeah,
and it's just not coming together.
Map movements from CiC are just absolutely perfect, honestly. Like, they're setting up ganks left, right, and center, are split pushing when they need to, not taking the team fight, and just picking off Reason when honestly it should be the other way around. Yeah, but going back to like this golden XP is getting just further and further ahead. Oh, and yeah, it's going to be even further with this Solstice going dropping up as well now. Yeah, I mean, it's looking very, very grim. I mean, they're only 2 kills ahead, but it doesn't matter. The farm aspect of top lane actually, Warbeast might be in trouble.
No. He's fine.
It's just, like, I think I've like drafted this almost perfectly, because like the only way Reason can really get ahead, because they can't farm the most effective, and they can't Warbeast should be fine. He's
Yeah.
trying to get out. Yeah. Yeah, like the only way really Reason can get ahead is in terms of sort of ganking, because they can't really push because they don't have any pushing potential, and they can't farm the fastest because they don't really have like the fastest flash farmer like Vindicator isn't a very fast farmer,
No.
but like they can't even gank either because the way the Zing have sort of laned it or sort of drafted this is that Warbeast, it's really really hard to kill. Kraken, really really hard to kill. Doctor Repulsor, really really hard to kill, and even Keeper is quite hard to kill as well unless you have sort of somewhat type of dust. And it's almost, this strategy is like almost completely countering Reason's game, and I think Zinc must have done their homework though, because they knew exactly what Reason we're going to do, and Vindicator's going to be dropping as well bottom lane maybe.
It seemed like it, yeah. I mean, he's going to be fine. Obviously, the tablet coming out, and he puts a glyph down as well to make sure that he stays alive. But yeah, I hate to say it, man, but I can look back at this Vindicator pick, and it just even the games that they lost, but we said he was at least somewhat impactful. You kind of said what one of his bigger weaknesses is, and especially as that carry kind of role. He's not really a flash farmer. He needs more time than others in terms of picking up the farm when it comes down to it usually. And on top of that, with the farm still, I mean, yes, he can right click and hit hard, but it seems like the kite really is effective against him, and he has a lot of trouble dealing with that, especially. So he seems almost like a very very defensive carry kind of guy, obviously with the skill set. So.
Yeah, and like I mean, Vindicator is like really strong in the team, but obviously the ultimate and the Glyph of Silence does so much work and just completely screws up the enemy team in terms of team fighting. But team fight this whole game, like Zinc have played this absolutely perfect, and I think they're so far ahead they could easily take a team fight if they wanted to.
Oh
but,
yeah.
Zinc have just done really well. That they split pushed when they need to, and even when Reason tried to take a team fight, Zinc just wasn't going to be there at bottom lane.
Yeah, it's almost like deja vu right here. Once again, it's Vindicator and Solstice. They're pushing the bottom lane, and that gank was being set up. Even when the TPs were coming in, they were kind of still hanging around, and little did they know, Dr. Repulsor also happened to be right there nearby. So another kill coming out, and again, it can kind of feel like that recent gaming is almost frustrated with the circumstances, understandably so. Warbeast, again, is he in trouble this time? Eruption comes out. He gets stunned. Now he's out of ulti form. They finally might actually kill Keizu. And yes, they will. I mean, that is his third death, but obviously they've had some troubles recently taking him out. So good play. Ooh, that Mauler, man. Explodes and does plenty of damage. By the way, he has a puzzle box, which is level 3. Yeah, as we saw right there. Coming out. Stone finished by Keeper, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they did take out Kozu, but it's like, it doesn't really matter. There's still 14,000 gold behind him. I mean, Wrestler Keeper on Keeper right now. It's just insane the amount of farm that Zinc have got. Though, like if you look at the GPM tab, they've got like 4 strong farmers now with Doctor, Warbeast, Keeper, and Kraken, and really it's only 2, even 2.5 maybe coming up from Reason Gaming, and that's why the discrepancy is just so big in terms of golden XP. And just like Tundra doesn't really farm that well unless he gets a lot of kills, and he was shut down completely in a 2v1 in the laning phase, and even Solstice just hasn't really had the greatest game either, really. Like, he hasn't found that many kills, and he doesn't farm extremely fast compared to Keeper even, and that's why Zinc have just honestly won this almost at the drafting stage. But I mean, they've played it really well as well. Their map movement's been absolutely perfect, knew exactly how to execute this strategy, and countered Reason almost perfectly.
Is this the comeback of the Keeper Warbeast, the Keeper Tempest? I mean, is this Zinc making a point that we're bringing this back, I think?
I mean, the heroes are still strong, but I think it's because the draft they're going against is almost completely destroyed by the pushing Warbeast Keeper. Like Reason want to push, and Reason want to team fight, sorry, and Zinc are just not offering that. They're just sort of split pushing completely. And I mean, the hero in the draft and the strategy is strong, but I just think as Reason have got this sort of ganking sort of lineup, it's countered by what Zinc have got. So, I mean, we won't see it like all the time, but I think Zinc are definitely showing that it's still viable and it still works, definitely. So.
Yeah. Kraken kind of pushing up the middle lane. You see with the Tree Dogs there especially, and just again, once a massive creep wave coming. Solstice going to do his best to hold his ground. I thought he finished his Shrunken Head, but I guess he didn't. I thought I saw that purchase, but obviously he doesn't have that on him. But you can tell the Legion team now pretty confident. Here we go with the big jump though for the Hellborn side. Final chapter does come out. Tundra's going to be locking down Kraken right there. Kraken will fall. Rhapsody in the meantime, she stays alive though. She has Protected Melody. She gets it off for a split second, and then she runs away shortly after. But guess what? It's just too much firepower here from CiC Esports. I mean, that was an okay initiation from Reason Gaming, but it just wasn't to be.
It's just that the golden XP was just too much, really. Like, it was like 16,000 when the team fight happened, really. And I just think Reason just got like sort of outdrafted, and the strategy was just perfect coming out from CiC really. Like they just completely split off and split farmed and split pushed when Reason could only really take one team fight, and they just didn't offer enough to really get ahead in terms of gold XP.
Yeah. CiC Esports taking the first game right there and definitely doing it quite decisively. And you know, I think it is at a point, if you're Reason Gaming, that they against other teams, sure, keep maybe trying to use a Vindicator, but I think CiC has kind of figured it out. I mean, you're now 0-3. Again, it's not that it's the hero itself, but that means something, doesn't it? When you're 0-3 with a hero against
definitely.
a certain team.
And also in game 1 and 2 of Vindicator, like the hero did work because it was going against the right sort of strategy. It was going against team fight when CiC were picking up like Magnus, Engineer, Flux. That's where Vindicator really shines. But in this sort of strategy, it just is really weak. Doesn't have flash farming capabilities. Doesn't have any sort of catch potential like when CiC are running away with like Warbeast and Keeper and Kraken. And that's why I think Vindicator just doesn't work. I mean, the hero is really strong, and I think game 1 and game 2 he could have definitely won, but this one I think it was just not needed, really, not needed to be picked up.
Yeah. Well, in the end, obviously, once again, CiC Esports takes the first game, though, pretty decisively overall. I mean, it did take about nearly half an hour, but really, once that 15-minute mark hit and CiC started to get the ball rolling, you could just tell Reason Gaming, they were going to need a lot to happen in their favor to pull through with that game, and it just wasn't to be. So